Hello again, everyone. Welcome to day 2 of patience as a fruit of the Spirit. Yesterday we talked about the definition of patience, but we didn't talk much about what patience looks like. So we thought it might be fun and helpful to begin by talking about what patience doesn't look like.
As I told you yesterday, and as I freely admit, patience is a fruit of the Spirit that I could use a lot more of. I kind of have a bad attitude about being patient, but as I considered what having patience really means, I realized just how ingrained my preconceptions of what patience is really are.
What preconceptions did you have, David?
Well, first of all, I have always thought of patience as passivity. I had the tendency to think that it means sitting around and doing nothing except waiting and maybe watching.
But you don't think that now?
No, this is one of the things that I've learned about the fruits of the Spirit is that they all work together. So being patient doesn't mean that we stop loving. It doesn't mean that we stop being joyful or being good or being kind. And it doesn't mean that we have to stop seeking peace or being faithful.
Okay.
It also doesn't mean sitting back and letting Jesus do all the work. Even though we know, yeah, I know. Even though we know it's going to take Jesus to complete the work that he began. In many ways, it is our working with all of the fruits of the Spirit together that allows us to be patient. And that allows us to have that long temper that we talked about yesterday.
Okay.
We see the Spirit working in and through our lives every day. And we begin to understand that we have been given these gifts for a reason, and that whatever our circumstances, God is very much at work.
Well, that all makes sense. What else?
Well, I always thought that patience meant having to remain silent. Another way of saying that we're long-tempered might be to say that we are long-suffering. But God doesn't intend for us to suffer silently.
So then it's okay to complain about what it is we're experiencing?
Well, not exactly. Not actually complain. But we can be honest with others so that they know what we're going through. But we don't have to be griping constantly to everyone.
Well, does that include how we talk to God?
No, really. I think that we can speak long and loud to God about anything and everything that we're going through. We can cry out to God about suffering and injustice. We can lament to God about the circumstances that we're facing. Lord knows this is what the psalmist and the prophets all did.
Right. We can also petition God to bring about the changes that we need to come about. God expects to hear from us. God longs to hear from us. God doesn't want our silence. God wants our relationship in good times and in bad. So what was your last preconception?
Okay, the last one is, I thought of patience almost as a weakness more than a strength. Like if we're being patient, we are just sort of weakly hanging back and letting things control us rather than actively trying to change our own circumstances. You see, the world tells us that we need to fight back. Like when something bad happens or when we're attacked, we should hit back. Or when somebody does us wrong, we should make sure that they have to suffer in the same way that we did.
Yes, but that's not what Jesus tells us.
Absolutely not. He said, have you heard that it was said, you shall love your neighbor and hate your enemy? But I say to you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you.
How does that relate to patience?
It is the strength of Jesus. It is the strength of Jesus working in us that gives us the patience to forgive, gives us the patience to love our enemies as well as our friends.
Okay.
It is patience that fills our hearts with grace and peace rather than with hate and vengeance.
Okay.
It is patience that allows us to put all of our love for others above our love for ourselves.
So patience really is a great strength.
Yes, and you know what? Our discussions about this have helped me realize that.
So now that we know a bit about what patience isn't, what will we do with patience tomorrow?
We're going to talk about what patience is. But
Okay.
grace and peace until then.
Have a good day, everybody.
Bye now.